Hello and welcome to the IGN UK podcast. I'm Alex and I'm joined by Karamali.
Hello, with my microphone working, we hope.
Hopefully. We certainly hope. And Rich Bearparks, you are back.
I'm back.
Now, before we start this week's podcast, Rich, you've got a bit of an apology to make, I believe.
Do I?
Yes, you do.
Why?
Because I would say for most of your life, you've screwed up.
Bloody hell.
I think that's
For
fair.
most of your life.
That's
I
strong.
think probably 3 weeks ago you did something right, but apart from that, I think you pretty much...
Is this the podcast recording?
Well, that's part of it. Yeah, I would say that, you know, there are multiple things that add up to what I would say a crushing, an abysmal life, really.
Okay.
I'm very glad that someone's called you on this because I think it's been a long time
It's a
coming.
nice return.
Yeah.
This.
Well, look, I'm pleased you had a holiday because, quite frankly, you've come back and you're going to enter a world of shit. If this podcast doesn't record properly, I am going to break you.
I'm so
That is a
worried about
promise.
this now.
That is a promise.
I'm so worried. What's going to happen? Or is it, am I going to find
well,
out?
I think for now, just to make up for the last 2 weeks, which have been screwed up,
Yeah.
I'm going to come and kick you in the balls.
Oh, I don't want to be kicked in the balls.
Well, look, if you're listening to the podcast, you won't get... Let's move your microphone out of the way. Oh, got static.
Oh, you got a static shock.
That's what you get.
Open your legs.
It's like he's a ninja.
Look up. Close your eyes. How am I going to do it? Oh! Never screw up the podcast again.
I felt that.
Oh.
I really did.
Okay.
Right in the baby maker.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Thanks for that, Alex.
all right. Now, so on a serious note, I do apologise for our loyal listeners who've been wanting a good part. Oh, actually, I thought last week's podcast was good because your microphone switched off.
Very
but-
good. Yeah, no, I was waiting for that. I was very much waiting for that.
But so, are we guaranteed that this is going to be in terms of technical quality, not in terms of content
Yeah.
quality, a good podcast?
Technically, we have 3 bases covered, so we should be fine.
Right.
Okay. Well, we hope.
Okay. If that is not the case, and for whatever reason this podcast screws up, I promise that we will do a forfeit next week, and it will
Okay.
be up to our listeners to suggest what that forfeit is.
Okay, fine.
IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com.
Did the forfeit for Luke screwing up the feedback ever come about, though?
Well, no, because I didn't screw it up ever. Really,
Twice in a row.
properly. Wow.
What was the forfeit? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I think it was something to do with chocolate.
I suggested chocolate for me, for punishment for me, but I don't know if that was the same for you.
What, eating chocolate?
Yeah, just because I like it.
All right. Anyway.
That's how forfeits work, yeah.
Let's move on to this week's podcast. Of course, we're going to talk about the news. We're also going to talk about the game that we're most excited about in 2014 because I know it's only near the end of September, but we've only got really kind of 2 big months of games left before Christmas
Yes.
because nothing comes out in December, really.
And everything's in November now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shun, shun, shun.
And we'll talk about the games that are out this week. There's only a couple, but they're interesting. But first, so you've been away. You've been on Hollybobs.
Yeah, been on my hollybobs with
What
my
did you do?
girlfriend. We went to Greece.
So first holiday away.
Yeah.
Hashtag
It's
humble
very
brag.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I loved it.
Are you still together?
Still together
That's
and
nuts.
not burnt either, which is surprising
So
because
you went
my
to Scotland.
yes,
You
went to a very
referendum.
hot country. You know, it was one of those things where you step off the plane, you can't really breathe very well.
Right.
You have to get used to it over the course of a
High
week.
altitude.
So you did say, and I think unfortunately both Luke and I are fortunate in that we don't sort of burn very
No.
easily.
Yeah.
You're at the opposite end of the scale.
Oh, very much so. Yes.
So you
The pigmentation in my skin cannot take the sun.
right. So you covered yourself in basically goose fat
Yeah. I
and stayed out of the sun.
I had a big bottle of Factor 50 and I sat in the shade.
Woo! That sounds like holiday.
What a time to
But
be
it was
alive.
great. It was amazing. So.
And a bottle of Jack Daniels in one hand, a bottle of Factor 50 in the other, and screw it.
That's what you need for a holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
but it was good. I mean, it was we went to an all-inclusive place, and it was as much as you can eat, as much as you can drink, just amazing.
All inclusive is really the way forward. I've been on a few all inclusive holidays, and you never regret. Well, you regret it when you get home and you're like,
Yes,
I'm
but
fat and bloated.
To
but-
be fair, the definition of a Prince Kamali all-inclusive is like butlers and shit like
well,
that,
yeah.
right?
My day-to-day life is all inclusive.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of.
Did you play any games on holiday?
Yeah,
Not those kind of games.
Oh,
then no. We played a lot of card games actually. Yeah,
All right.
we learned some card games for 2 because we didn't want to socialise with any other people in
Good.
the hotel.
Like Snap.
No, we played Go Fish. There's a game called Gops, which is great. It's a really good game.
Never heard of
Gops.
it.
Yeah, you have to it's like a psychological battle between suits. And what else did we play? And Yeah, so it's Gops and Go Fish.
So while
and
you've
another
been playing Gops and Go Fish,
Yeah.
obviously Luke and I have been playing a lot of Destiny.
Yeah, a horrible amount.
I know where I'd rather sit in that camp.
Didn't have that privilege
No.
without any internet access.
Why did, oh, that's true.
So,
Well, Bearparks looking to start Destiny if any of you want to help them out.
yeah.
What are you going to play as?
I don't know. What do you need me to play as?
Well, so this is the thing. We had a big...
So I've retrained as a Titan,
Yeah.
and now I'm badass.
I
I'm the
basically-
best person at punching people in the face, full stop.
Okay.
I threw a hissy fit and refused to re-roll, and so was
course.
like, I'm going to stay a hunter. And so Alex... Because Alex, Krupa and I were all hunters. So Krupa's now a warlock, Alex is a Titan. So essentially, you're superfluous to our needs anyway, so do whatever you want to do. You're not going to be used.
All right.
Surely,
Sounds
as a
good.
fan of magic, you should be a warlock.
Yeah, all right. I'll go for that. I will sign up as a warlock this weekend.
Very good.
And what level do you think you'll be at by the beginning of next week? Because if you're anything lower than 10, you're dead to me.
Okay. 11.
Perfect. Right. Okay. I will hold you to that.
Well, that's,
and if you don't reach level
recorded
11 by
in
Monday
there.
next week, another forfeit is coming your way.
Good God.
I also want to give a shout out to, now, forgive me if I've got your name wrong, but a guy came up to me on Oxford Street this week and said, "Are you Alex?" Of course I am. And he was listening to last week's podcast. And that's amazing. So
That's
I think,
cool.
I think your name was Babs. If it's not, I'm really, really sorry. But
voice in the cave.
I still find it weird when people, well, it's only happened a couple of times, when people kind of come up to me in the street, because normally they want money. But you didn't want money, you just wanted to say hello, which is nice, right?
You didn't ask for any money?
No.
That's
no.
good.
But yeah, thank you for listening. It's always nice when people kind of, give us a shout. It's amazing.
It's cool.
Anyway, let's move on to the news. And obviously, it wouldn't be another week unless there was more leaked Star Wars pictures. This week there were pics of, so it's shooting on location in Ingerland in the countryside. And it looked like there is, I don't know, it's a rebel base. Have you seen the pictures, Rich? You've been away, so maybe
No,
you
I haven't seen them.
So
Yeah, they're kind of like half built and then they're kind of half wrapped in green screen, right? Like,
yeah.
okay.
So it looks like it's shot on a disused, I don't know, army base or something like that. And you've got this kind of road running down the middle and then a circular patch of tarmac at the end, which is where the Millennium Falcon is parked. And it's a big kind of, I can't even...
it's a hangar, right?
Yeah, but what the metal thing's called? The metal pipes. My brain's gone
Turrets.
empty. No, that go on the side of houses.
Scaffolding.
Scaffolding, thank you. Oh my God. Anyway, so it's about a quarter built and the rest is scaffolding, and obviously they're going to CG in it.
Yeah.
The rest as it goes along. And then in the little hangars as you go further down, you've got like what looks like X-Wing fighters or maybe T-16s, or it just feels like it's a proper Star Wars film.
There's lots of X-Wings. It looks really, really cool. And coupled with some news we had today about the fact there's going to be lots of stormtroopers and stuff. I know a lot of people have kind of been speculating.
Which it wouldn't be a Star Wars film if it didn't.
But this is the thing. A lot of people have been speculating.
So the point, real stormtroopers, I think, is the point you're trying to make.
Real stormtroopers. Because the point that a lot of people have kind of been making is, in the, it was the expanded universe, but now it's the Legends universe. There's a lot of focus more on the Sith and the Jedi and, the resurgence of the Jedi. This very much seems then it means that the new Star Wars films are actually going to be taking place, just because Emperor Palpatine's gone doesn't mean that that the Empire's completely disbanded. They're still there. The Sith might not be necessarily so in control, but the Imperials are still knocking about, which I think is quite exciting.
I am trying to keep my excitement.
Yeah. You have to keep it down, don't you?
It's hard because
I get really excited. I mean, I was saying, so I'm now reading the novels. I don't know how I really got into them. That kind of just happened. I was looking for something to read.
No, see, I love Star Wars, but I've never read a Star Wars novel. I can't bring myself to do it.
So I thought it was possibly too nerdy for me to do, and then I did it, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm right. This is too nerdy. But some of them they have some really, really good writers who they kind of recycle to do all different ones. And a lot of them have also written the stories for Knights of the Old Republic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of quite a good team. And I've now read about, I'd say, 6.
Okay.
And so they kind of span, there's some around the events of the films, like the new films, and the old films. And then there's some around the Old Republic. And the Old Republic ones I like more. But there's one that's called Darth Plagueis, which is about, he's mentioned briefly as kind of a throwaway character in episode 3. as
Is he?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
he's like
I've never heard it.
and it's just, and there's just so many nice little tie-ins. So Palpatine, when he's talking to Anakin at the opera, is like,
Yeah.
did you ever hear the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? He's so powerful that he could stop people from dying. And Darth Plagueis was actually hit, and then he says, his apprentice killed him in his sleep. Ironic that he couldn't stop himself from dying. And Plagueis is actually Palpatine's master, who taught him. And there's so many nice touches. Like throughout the novel, he refers to him as Darth Plagueis the Wise, but with absolute sincerity. And then when he says that in the film, you're like, and he's spitting it out there, mocking him that he couldn't save himself. It just kind of adds extra layers, and Christ knows that film kind of needs it. But it's really good anyway. So
A reason to read a Star Wars novel.
Yeah, I would say.
So what's that book called?
That one's called Darth Plagueis, and it's good because you don't really need to know any more than the films. But I don't know. They're well written, and it's a nice introduction. And it is really nerdy, but hey, you're listening to this.
So this isn't kind of fan fiction stuff. This is
this is all sanctioned. So the thing
I don't think you want to touch fan fiction.
Yeah,
you know,
so you
all
haven't delved
kinds
into
of
that yet.
different. Well, maybe, but it's all to do with different kinds of lightsabers. But the whole thing as well is, so it was all kind of. Ooh, hello. It was all kind
That's
of
the Force.
That's the Force I've just done. It was all canon, and then they, when Lucas sold it to Disney, they were like, none of that counts, and we're going to rewrite it. So it's unclear what does and doesn't count, which is now it's Legends.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
So with the pictures, what does it reveal in terms of what we're going to see?
A Millennium Falcon.
Falcon. X-Wings.
But to be fair,
A rebel
I'm
base,
quite happy with that.
Yeah.
I want to see all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I think it just shows that there is a lot of physicality to the film.
Exactly.
And that's what I think so many films lack these days. Is stuff,
right?
Exactly, yeah. And that's important. I like the fact that there are aliens that are puppets. Perhaps look a little bit shit.
Yeah.
I don't mind that, but at least there is interaction between the kind of two characters and stuff like that. So
because most of the stormtroopers in episodes 2 and 3 and stuff, they were all CG. And so at least this, apparently they've enlisted loads of extras now.
Yeah,
like loads. So
imagine that. I would quite happily be an extra. I don't want to get paid, but I'd love to keep the stormtrooper outfit.
Yeah.
Oh man.
At the moment of the guy,
when would you wear it?
It's just like
sexy time.
Sexy time with the wife. Exactly, yeah.
That's what you want, right? No?
These are not the droids you're looking for.
It's a
move along.
Time. So we're going to move. Oh god, yeah. No, we will move along to the fact that. So the other news this week: Blizzard has cancelled Project Titan. Now you don't know much about Project.
Well,
Titan.
I was going to say I'd never heard of it before.
And I'm assuming you don't know much about.
All I know is it's been 7 years.
It has been 7 years. 7 long
It's been
years.
dead for 7 years.
So Project Titan was.
So firstly, should I have heard of it?
So Project Titan was never officially announced. It was never really acknowledged as being a thing. Alongside World of Warcraft, it was known that Blizzard, or first of all it was rumoured, and then Blizzard gradually started being like, okay, we have something in the works. And they were basically working on another MMO alongside Project Titan.
So it never actually saw the light of day?
No, and Project Titan obviously is a code name. No assets, no details, no pricing structure, nothing.
Right.
But it was known that they were working on another MMO. And then the tail end of last year, basically, because we hadn't heard anything about it for a long time, Blizzard kind of held their hands up and were like, look, okay, it's gone back to the drawing board. It wasn't working. And the speculation about that was because it was designed from the ground up to be, like World of Warcraft, a submodel MMO. So you pay a subscription fee. Obviously, the submodel kind of isn't necessarily as reliable as it used to be.
I'm switching off. Hurry up.
Okay, so basically, they tried to reboot it as a free-to-play thing, but what they've now said is they couldn't find the fun, so they've just...
But why would you want to release another MMO when you've already got Warcraft?
Well, this is the thing. 7 years ago, when Warcraft was doing so well, it kind of makes sense, right? They think they've nailed it. Because...
But you've already, to me, that is diluting something you've already got. You're taking players away from a universe that people are already invested in.
But you don't really know, because it's possible they could have done a joint pricing scheme that's slightly more, and then you have them in two, and it was meant to be completely different thematically. So I don't know, sci-fi.
So I get that, but at the same time, those games you get the most out of by putting the most in.
Yeah.
And you're not going to split your time across two different things.
No, I think this is the thing, because we never knew what it was, it's really, really difficult to comment on. But, they had the...
It's never stopped me before, to be honest.
Exactly, it's never stopped me trying. They always had, strategy games. They've always had that with StarCraft and the old Warcraft. And now I think what's probably happened is, with the resurgence of other things, they did Hearthstone, which was wildly successful when they never really devoted that many resources to it. I think that surprised them. And similarly, Heroes of the Storm, which has the potential now to kind of corner or at least get them a foothold in the MOBA market, which they never used to have. I think they kind of realised, you know what, let's cut our losses on this one.
I think it's far better to have successes in different genres than to try and throw your eggs all into one basket.
Well, because I mean, we don't know what it was at all, but recently, for the first time, about maybe 6 months ago, I think they did an interview with someone, and they said, you know, World of Warcraft 2 is something we've considered. And there's never really been any suggestion that Titan was World of Warcraft 2.
No.
But it's just to do with the fact that if they have considered World of Warcraft 2, there's no need for World of Warcraft 2 and Titan, you know?
And, you know, obviously what World of Warcraft is now is very different from what World of Warcraft was whenever it launched.
Completely.
Right?
And WildStar is very similar to what World of Warcraft was when it launched, and it's now kind of struggling a little bit.
Right.
So, you know, the market changes, what the audience wants, and we have a lot less time as gamers, I think, these days.
It's, you know, I've said it countless times before, like FIFA is a really good example. FIFA is out this week. I don't really feel the need that FIFA should be 2014, 2015, 2016. It should just be this ongoing thing that you subscribe to if you like that franchise, and it evolves over time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's got to be the next iteration, isn't it?
But then again, it's the biggest selling sports game of all time. It makes EA an absolute ton of cash. So why upset the apple cart? So,
I don't know, but would you work that into EA Access? But then again, it's not going to be on PlayStation, right?
you know, if the subscription fee was the same as buying a box copy, which I think is, you know, if you're paying 40 quid and you get that game for a year, that's pretty reasonable.
I mean, a lot of people, that's the only game people play, isn't it, a lot of the time?
And subs copies, well, how much is Warcraft sub a month?
So they're about actually to raise it in the UK, but if you buy it on a monthly basis, it's about 8, and then if you buy it, you lock yourself in for 6 months, it's like $6.90 or something.
A month?
Yes.
But that's a lot more expensive than 40 quid a year, is my point.
Yeah, no,
FIFA,
completely.
for example.
I mean, that's the thing, because the thing with MMOs, you know, you play them and they kind of tend to be your main game.
Yeah.
So it's not such a big cost, because like when I used to play them, I then didn't used to buy games. So I'd actually spend, you know, £6 a month for a game.
And you don't really see that going out because it's £6 a month rather than 50 quid.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, I've bought 3 coffees this week. I've already spent more than £6. Money hat.
What enjoyment did you have with those coffees?
Very transient, I won't lie. Yeah.
So did you go for the same brand or did you go for different coffees?
I went, well, if we say what we want, I went for Eat and I went for Pret.
So which one did you go for? 2 of the same?
I went for 2 of Pret and 1 of Eat.
So lattes, cappuccinos?
Lattes.
This is the hard-hitting shit right here.
Yeah, no, I go for lattes.
You should go for a latte across the board?
Yes.
Okay.
With 2 sugars.
2 sugars? 1 shot, 2 shots?
Single shot, because 2 makes me a little bit overexcited.
And do you prefer Eat or Pret?
I think I prefer Pret.
Wrong!
Really?
Yeah.
It depends which way I walk, whether I walk from Embankment or Piccadilly.
Yeah, but it's not about the convenience of the shop, it's about the coffee and the flavour.
Oh, I don't really care, I just dose it up so much
Pret's
with sugar
coffee is too bitter. It's bitter and it's a little bit peppery. Not digging that.
I like a Nero.
That's because it's free on a Monday, that's why.
Free on a Tuesday.
Oh, free
O2
Tuesdays.
priority.
There you go.
Free Bearpark, there
Hook
you go.
you up with that. So,
That's gone well.
Talking of cheapskates and stuff like that, it's your turn next.
Is this why I got this story? Because it's a bit cheaper than the others.
But it does fit
it's just a
very well.
coincidence.
Xbox One's now cheaper than PS4.
Yeah.
By 20 quid.
In the
It's
UK,
pretty good.
yeah.
In the UK. So it's been brought down to £329.99, making it cheaper than the PS4,
Yep.
which is good. It's the third price cut that we've seen for it in 10 months. It launched at £429.99 and then it got reduced to £349.99.
Minus the Connect.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So you don't get Kinect or any games with it, but there has been a listing on Amazon where you can get the white Xbox One and Sunset Overdrive for £329.
That is a good
Which is a really good deal.
That's a very good deal.
Yeah. But
So-
again, no Kinect, but
You don't need it.
Yeah.
You honestly don't need it.
no.
So you've both got PS4s?
Yep.
Yes.
No Xboxes?
No Xbox.
Would that be enough to tempt you?
No.
Oh.
For me, it depends. So, in terms of
Because it's not
titles-
free. It's not an O2 priority.
Yeah.
Right.
Give me a free one, I'll have it.
The way,
Wow.
really, that's very generous of you.
Yeah.
The way it kind of works for me is that, in the same way with the Wii U, I need exclusives that interest me. So with the PS4, I like Little Big Planet. I like
Yep.
The Order, and I don't know. Scalebound interests me by Platinum, that's coming to Xbox One next year. And similarly, Smash Bros. And Zelda really interest me for Wii U. But I've invested in one console, so it's now kind of like the weight of those exclusives kind of have to outbalance the fact that there's so many generic titles.
Are you interested in Sunset Overdrive? Not.
So I played Sunset a couple of times, and I think it's a really, really fun game, and I really enjoy it. But it's coming out at a really busy time, and there's so many other games that I'm.
Well, we're going to talk about later. In the podcast,
so we will come to that. But like, there's so many other games. I just don't think it's enough because I'll buy that. And I know I'll spend most of my time playing the games that I still have racked up on my PlayStation 4. So it just doesn't make sense for me.
Yeah. I think of all the probably Xbox games coming out between now and Christmas, Forza Horizon 2 is the one I'm looking forward to most.
Yeah.
Because I haven't played Sunset yet. I haven't played it at Gamescom. I haven't played it at E3. I think it's interesting, but I think it's a tall order to ask people to commit and go and buy a brand new console for an IP that is not as obvious as some of the other games coming out.
So my issue with it, so I've played it twice now,
yeah.
And when I started playing it, it's one of these games that you play it for the first time, and I played through a level and I was like, I don't really get this. And then at the end of the day, I went back and I was like, you know what, I need to give it another go. And I did give it another go. And once you know how to play it and it just all starts flowing, it's very natural. But I think there is a bit of a kind of, you need to ease yourself into it.
Yeah. But Forza, there was a new trailer. Well, it may have been around for a little while actually, but it just sums up that game perfectly. It's kind of, my racing game kind of standard is Need for Speed. Not because it's perhaps the best racing game out there, but it's just because it's fun. And that's what Forza encapsulates. Like, not Motorsport. Motorsport is obviously a lot more serious. But Horizon 2 just looks just a lot of fun, and it looks gorgeous. So I'm well up for that.
So, I mean, the big thing with this is Destiny saw a spike. So Destiny had this exclusive marketing deal with Sony, right? Where they could only kind of talk about, where only Sony could market it. Now, Xbox has a similar deal with FIFA.
Yep.
And also,
Legends is exclusive to Xbox.
Yes, and also with Advanced Warfare, Call of Duty. So, though, I think it will benefit from those. Neither of those are really my kind of games, so that doesn't really lure me in. But similarly, when Destiny came out, we got percentages without numbers, and obviously that doesn't really mean a lot. But PlayStation 4 figures spiked 300%. So you can assume that Xbox One, especially with this and the imminent release of these two games, could be about to do very, very well. But there's also the fact that even with that, Destiny release week, PlayStation 4 consoles were outselling Xbox Ones 2-1.
Yeah.
So PlayStation still has very much the lead. And my thing is, at this stage, all my friends have PlayStation 4s.
Yeah.
Saving 20 quid is not going to be enough to make me want to buy.
Yeah, of course, because you're always going to go with your friends.
This is the thing, I'm not going. And now that PlayStation has that early lead and early bed, I don't know if I would never necessarily be like, I'm going to save 20 quid and not play with it.
There are an awful lot of people out there who don't have next gen consoles
and
yet,
who will get it for FIFA,
and whose friends don't have those as well. So I agree that obviously PlayStation's got the early lead, but it is early days, and
though COD and FIFA are the big franchises,
and you know what, it worked for Nintendo in terms of sucking up that kind of more mainstream audience. And so I just think you cannot write them off just yet. And I actually like the fact that you can pick up the white console, which I quite fancy a bit of a change. There's so much darkness under my television, and I'm not even talking about my consoles. I keep my corpses there.
Yes, good. Well, Cooper and I had to talk each other we talked each other into buying the white PS4s, and we were like, why are we doing this? This is stupid. We already have PS4s.
Yeah, it does look nice though, but it's just the white controllers a bit.
And the thing is, it doesn't go with anything in my living room, and I'm like, I don't care, I want it. It's pretty.
Yeah, I don't have, you've not got white TV.
Yeah. Silver? I don't know why I'm looking at you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know either.
Okay, so the final bit of news that we have this week is Assassin's Creed related. So this week Ubisoft announced the season pass for Assassin's Creed Unity, which was fairly exciting in and of itself. But, and this was the interesting part, they also announced, alongside there's some DLC that you get that takes place after the game, you also get some standard weapon packs and bonus missions that are threaded throughout the game. Great, great, great. But you also get something called Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. And that is a standalone 2.5D, so a side-scroller in essence, game set in China, featuring an assassin that we have met before called Xiao Jun, I think she is called. Yeah, Xiao Jun.
So where was she from?
She's in a cutscene of something. I didn't quite understand. She's basically
you didn't quite understand, or you didn't quite research.
You know, pick whichever one suits you best. Basically, it's in the she makes an appearance, and you play as her. It's in 16th century China. And people are speculating, what does this mean? Does this mean that, you know, maybe we may see a game in China? Because there's long been mutterings about Japan and China and, you know, and these. And so, looks interesting. What's interesting is that they have said you'll get it as a season pass holder. So they haven't actually said, oh, yeah, and then it'll be available later on.
I'm sure it will be.
I'd be amazed if not. But it doesn't really seem to tie into the story in any way, shape or form.
I don't know. I quite like the idea of, you know, it's kind of like the Valve mentality, and that, you know, experimenting with Portal and all that kind of stuff before including elements of that, like the gravity gun in their main games. I love that kind of idea of, you know, it's the same with Krupp and I saw some test footage for Big Hero 6 last week.
Yes.
And there was the new Pixar short before that called, Disney short called Feast. And it was just experimenting with different animation styles. And I love that kind of stuff. Is, you know, see how well it does, and if it's great, you know, look at how they can use it further down the line. But if not,
I mean, it's interesting because Ubisoft seem to be really, really pushing this kind of thing now. You know, they did Pirates last year, like the app which they made free. They're kind of trying to, rather than straddling both gens, they're making 2 separate games, one for current, one for, you know, they are really pushing the envelope. Just to see what works and what doesn't. And I think that's quite interesting. It does look like a very nice game. The graphics aren't top notch, but similarly as a setting, and, you know, if they can get you to a stage where this is a character you're interested in, you know, because still the stories do tie into the stories of the first trilogy, you know, the ones in Unity and Rogue, because what with
is it going to get to a point where it's so complicated though that it's like,
you need a break? I think they really need a break.
It's not going to happen.
No. Well, I mean, there's still loads of speculation about the latest thing to come out this week is that Rogue is coming to PC, which is not confirmed. It's a rumor, but like some listings have been spotted. And, you know, at that stage, people have been speculating for ages that Rogue, which is the PS3 and Xbox 360 one, is going to come to PS4 and Xbox One. Again,
I'm sure it will.
Yeah. And in which case then, so you are now having biannual Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
You know, and at some stage that wears very thin, especially because I don't think any of the protagonists really have that much personality that you latch onto.
I guess the thing there is, you know, if you've invested in a new console, you'll go for the full fat experience with Unity. If you are like properly into Assassin's Creed, then I actually quite like the idea that if you want to, you can go and buy an HD remake. We don't know that they're doing this, but you know, it's this. I think we've spoken about it before. Is that my old consoles, my Xbox and my PS3, have been relegated to my TV upstairs, and so I literally don't play them anymore.
I use them as DVD players and like Netflix. Like at this stage.
Whereas, you know, if I could access all of my old games and they look slightly better on my PS4 or my Xbox One, I'd be up for that. So, but again, it's about choice and giving consumers the choice, which I think is a good thing. Anyway, so here we are coming up to the end of September. So only a couple of months really left before the end of 2014 in terms of, you know, new games that are coming out. So we wanted to kind of talk about what the games that we're most looking forward to before the end of 2014, because obviously so many huge games have been pushed back into next year, and obviously Bloodborne's just been announced that that's coming out at the beginning of February. But I still think it's going to be a strong Christmas lineup.
There's quite a lot coming.
So, Luke, if you had to pick one game coming up between now and Christmas, what would you pick? What are you going to be playing over Christmas?
So, over Christmas itself, this is kind of a little bit of a cheaty answer, but I would say that Destiny's DLC, the first one, the expansion.
Right.
So I'm excited about...
You still think you'll be invested in Destiny by then?
Well, this is the thing. I think it will bring me back because we know what they're doing event-wise till the end of September, and beyond that, they've kind of hinted at it. But I'm really interested to see how much content you get. So the season pass for 2 expansions is 30 quid.
Right.
That's meant to save you money. So you can assume that we're probably looking at 20 quid for a DLC.
Yeah.
You want a hell of a lot of content.
It's going to have to be a beast.
Like, you want a hell of a lot. And that is going to be make or break.
What do you think it'll be? A new planet?
So I think we're going to see new story missions. We're going to see a new planet. See, they've kind of gotten around the subscription fee by regular expansion packs that cost you... So, you know, that's 4 months, which is about £5 a month, which is what you'd do in Warcraft.
But there's still that thing that Rich was saying, is you've got that lump of 20 quid, and I'm not sure people are ready for that.
I think it. So that's partly why I'm interested to see,
Yeah.
because as I say, there's 2 that they've announced. That one, I forget the name of it, something below, and then the other one is the House of Wolves. That's going to be make or break. So I'm interested that that's probably something that's got a lot of my attention. Other than that, Dragon Age Inquisition, which is I believe November now.
Yeah.
So I played the first Dragon Age. Well, I played Dragon Age 1, loved it. Dragon Age 2 really lost me, and from everything I've seen of Dragon Age 3. Inquisition, it looks very, very similar to the first one. So I'm quite keen to give that a go.
Yeah.
And similarly, it's been a while since I've had a story-driven game. Like, as I say, we've been playing Destiny. There is a story in Destiny, but it's very much, what you make it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think those are probably my 2 big ones. But I'm interested in other ones. I'm not a big shooter fan, so Battlefield and COD don't really...
Well, Battlefield's next year.
Oh, is that being pushed
back? Hardline is next year now.
Battlefield's gone. COD doesn't really reach out to me. I'm kind of over Assassins.
Right.
Like, I've said this before, but Assassin's Creed Black Flag was one of my most favourite, actually, launch titles that I played on the PS4. After the letdown of 3, I thought it was great. So I'm excited. In a way, I'm excited, but
surely that should set you up for.
But I did like the sailing aspect of it, because I didn't like that in 3, and I thought they did it really well. The fact they've taken it away in 5 gets me down a bit. And the co-op, I don't like co-op where I can't speak to people.
Right.
And so the thing is, I like Destiny because at the moment I'm only really playing with friends or people like I've said to podcast listeners.
You've definitely not talked to... I haven't played the co-op. Krupa's played the co-op.
You can, but it's not local co-op. It's internet co-op.
So? But I would say that's most co-op these days, right?
I know, it's just, for me, there's so many people playing Destiny at the moment and stuff. I don't know, it's not too much of a struggle, and maybe by the time...
See, I like the fact with Destiny, I don't have to talk to anybody else. There's just a mutual respect. It's that there's a bad guy over there, let's go and kill him together. And I haven't done any of the high-level strikes or raids or anything like that where
it's
communication
weird for me
is
because I obviously used to play Warcraft, and the way it used to be is they never had a dungeon finder, they never had matchmakers or anything like that. You had to recruit people, bring them in, tell them the tactics and all of this and do it. And it was a ball ache, but it made you get to know people.
Of course,
and then you build relationships with those people, and then you can carry them in later. And then Warcraft had a dungeon finder, and you'd match up with someone, finish a dungeon, and not speak to them during or after. And that's kind of, and it's a sounds like some of my sexual encounters. And then you just kind of do that. I don't know, that aspect is there in Destiny, but I always make a point not to go for it, and I just worry in Assassins because that's.
But so you play Destiny with friends?
People actually, I play a lot with people who I met playing Warcraft years ago.
But over the internet.
Yes.
So how's that different from Assassin's Creed?
Oh, so I speak to them. I'm just saying that I don't necessarily know if I would want to speak to, because it has such a big player base and stuff.
Yeah, but you still play with your friends, surely.
Yeah, you can still assign groups, can't you?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, not that many people. Not that many of my friends seem to be that. The setting.
To be fair,
of Assassins,
you've completely brushed off with Destiny. It's like, I'm going to go and play with my World of Warcraft.
I haven't. Brushed you off. I will play with you. I will.
We've got a new hunter now. We've got Bearparks. We don't need you.
I will help you. I will carry you.
I don't need your help.
I will offer it freely.
You had the chance to retrain. You didn't. You're dead to me. My Titan is going to punch you in the face.
Good. We'll meet you in the Crucible.
Absolutely.
But yes, that's me. What about you?
There's only one game that I'm really looking forward to, and that's Far Cry 4. Because so somebody tweeted me last week saying, "You're wrong, Far Cry 3 is rubbish," and I'm really sorry, but that is one of the most idiotic statements I've ever heard in my entire life. Because Far Cry 3 is, in my opinion, one of the masterpieces that came out on PS3 and Xbox 360, and I haven't played that much of Far Cry 4, but in terms of the template of what it's promising is kind of what Far Cry did, and then some. I don't want it to reinvent the wheel. I just want more of the same. I want to spend time in Shangri-La and on through the Himalayas and riding elephants and all that kinds of crap. And there was a new trailer that came out that focused on the elephants, and it was the first part of the trailer was very calm and beautiful. Obviously, some of the Himalayan environments look incredible, but then it just went nuts as these elephants were just kind of headbutting their way through kind of towns and stuff like that. And you can fly helicopters. It's literally got everything I like about games in one game.
So
helicopters and elephants.
I thought the kind of the stuff that we've seen from Far Cry 4 so far looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I really want to play it. I'm looking forward to playing it. I haven't played Far Cry 3.
Right.
Should I play that before 4?
Well, you don't have to. I don't think there's going to be any story ties. It's purely in terms of kind of game mechanics and structure.
Okay.
So the thing I loved about Far Cry 3 is there was a story there, which was important. But as an open world, much like GTA, there was just loads to do. And it was as much about going around and hunting, liberating outposts, which would unlock new weapons. So when you actually came back to the story, I was properly hardcore. I had all these cool weapons, all these kind of additional things that I kind of built up over time. And that was as much fun as kind of going through and doing the story. Whereas, you know, I think too often with open world games, there is no kind of point to the side stuff.
So that was my issue with Far Cry 3. Like I came back to it at a really bad time. Like I'd gone from Skyrim to Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag on PS4, which is open world, you know, kind of exploring, and then I'd gone from that to Infamous, where, you know, you're meant to wander around and stuff. So they were beautiful open world games. Then you go back to Far Cry 3, and it's a beautiful game, but obviously it's not next gen beautiful.
No.
And it just kind of jarred, and I kind of tapped myself out on it. So I didn't really care for Far Cry 3. I was already burnt out on open world games, so I'm now keen to try Far Cry 4.
I definitely think it's one of the best examples of a open world shooter. I think, that's 3, and that's of its time, so 2 years ago almost. And, you know, I think they did an amazing job of the kind of the bad guys, like Vaz was, you know, properly mental. The new guy, I forget what his name is. The statue that they're releasing looks hideous, but you know, he looks interesting. They're interesting characters. They're not your kind of ordinary
cookie cutter.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not just like, oh, I'm a big bloke with big guns. You know, there's a lot of kind of psychological stuff going on there, and they're properly unhinged. I like that. So, for me, Far Cry 4.
Cool.
What about you, Rich?
Well, for me, there was one game I was really looking forward to, which is Batman, obviously, but that's been pushed back.
Unlucky.
So, I mean, realistically, over Christmas, I'll probably be playing GTA 5 Remastered, actually.
So did you play it on...
Yeah, I did play it, and I loved it.
Did you finish it?
Yep, finished it, and I'm definitely going to play it again. Probably do more than I did on the PS3. My PS3 was chugging along with that as well. Because it's one of the older versions, so...
Yeah.
Now with the PS4... I think it's just going to run really smoothly. It's going to look gorgeous. Going to enjoy playing it a lot more. And yeah, realistically, that's what I'm going to be playing. I think also Unity.
Yeah.
I got a chance to hear some of the art direction a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, you went to Paris, didn't you?
Yeah, for Unity. And it just looks amazing. It's like very immersive, and like mechanics are cool. So looking forward to playing that as well.
Yeah. So what was the first game you mentioned? I've totally had a mind.
GTA 5.
GTA 5. So I think the thing about GTA 5 for me is the story mode is there, and that's fine. But it might be the first time that I go into online, because so I was on holiday when online launched last year, and I kind of missed the initial buzz, and by the time I got around to it, there were so many other games coming out that I've never really gone in and experienced that. But every time, you know, you see the updates coming through, and there's these missions, and I'm assuming that heists will come around soon. I don't know. Surely they're going to launch heists around the same time
You'd think
as the next gen version. That to me is like, do you know what? I'd like to get back into it and experience that, because the co-op stuff in GTA 4 was really, really good.
I mean,
there wasn't much of it, but what was there was very enjoyable.
Because I started online when it was new, and there were you know, connectivity issues, all of this, and also the way it has, you like Rockstar let you kind of make jobs and make your own playlists and things, and they were very, very kind of skew with. Whereas now they're curated by Rockstar, and so they give you like approved and verified jobs. And at this stage, they have quite a robust playlist, so I think it is a good time to jump back in. So I'd be keen to try it again, because I was very put off the first time.
But it also comes back to that whole thing of, you know, the console that's in my living room, and so
that's what you're going to play, isn't it?
I got to a point on GTA 5 that I hadn't finished the single player, and I thought, right, well, I need to do it. So I finished it upstairs in the bedroom, because that's where the console was, and I haven't touched it since. And I know that there are still single player missions going on there, because once you finish the end game, there's still stuff to do. But I definitely want to spend more time with that game, and I think, as you say, it looks such an amazing world.
Right?
It looked great on PS3 and Xbox 360. It looks incredible on PS4 and Xbox One. So
yeah, I mean, I'm the same with the online stuff. I started it. I did 2 missions, I think it was.
Right.
But then I got annoyed because it wouldn't let me change the height of my character. Some kind of bug. So I was just kind of like a small man just cruising around and.
A problem you have in life, right? And you can't change.
Well, that's why I wanted to escape from that.
Exactly. I feel your pain, Rich. I feel it. I feel it. Anyway, so those are the games that we are most excited about in 2014. Do let us know what are your favourite games. Luke, what's the email address again?
IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com.
So speaking of feedback, let's go to Reader FU, and I've got the first piece, and it's from Nikki Dayton, who says, I agreed with statements about getting fed up with iPhones. They stopped anything in the way of innovation a long time ago, plus the small screens and the terrible unupgradable memory made my decision to leave them. I'm enjoying the Z1 now. Well, so I would say, obviously, they have got small screens. And I tell you, the one thing that I hadn't really realised is how small the iPhone 5 feels after using the 6.
Really?
Like, because I've got one of each. My work phone is the 5, my phone is the 6. The 5 feels like this tiny little ridiculous phone now, whereas a week ago it felt perfectly normal.
Yeah.
What's the
hang on,
that's going on?
No innovation since the iPhone's been out.
Hey, these aren't my words.
Who said that?
So it's Nick Dayton, Nick Ayton, Nick says this.
Okay.
Hunt the Nick
but on paper, the iPhone isn't as advanced as some other phones that are out there.
On paper, yeah.
On paper. But I still think, as a device, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I've had my iPhone now for, what is it, I don't know, 5 days or whatever it is. And it is great, although it is just a phone. It's that's all I'm going to use it for. Like, I've shot a few slow motion videos and it's like, oh, that's amazing. Oh, right, I've never use that again. But that's surely the same with every single thing.
There's a lot of gimmicks out there for everything.
The predictive texting on it isn't what the iOS. So if you can get it on your old phone, I don't think it's particularly good.
Right.
And maybe it learns over time. But right now, I am faster texting than I am using the kind of what it's serving up as a suggestion.
Have you got the swipe keyboard yet? Is that
no? I haven't switched keyboards. No.
Okay.
Krupa was talking about switching keyboards, but I haven't got around to it.
Yeah.
But I just, for me, I plugged in my old one, I backed it up, plugged in the new one, and within 10 minutes, it was working like I hadn't switched phones, but I had it, and it was bigger. My only concern is it is slightly bigger. It doesn't fit in my pocket as easily as the other ones did, and I'm worried about bending it.
I guess that's the thing, though, isn't it? When you've got... Sorry, you're getting annoyed with me twiddling the pen.
No, I want to borrow your pen to write it, so I wasn't just trying to hold your hand.
I guess that's the thing, like, if you've had previous iPhones or Apple devices, you can just back up and sync, and then your new device will become your old device, but be better. Yeah. But in situations where people are switching from, say, a Samsung Galaxy or a Z1 or whatever, they're not going to have that ease, are they? I mean, the transition is going to be a lot more complicated.
Well, honestly, I don't know, because I've been iOS for as long as I can remember now. I don't know. I'm pretty sure if you're going from one Android phone to the next, there must be a level of...
I'm saying if they switch
if you're going from one to the other. So I know that I think Samsung have an app, or they do something.
Samsung have now developed an app
that makes the transition pretty easy. Yeah. But it's not just that. It's like I've got a Mac, I've got an iPad. It just kind of works. Yeah. It may not be the best experience in the world ever.
But the ecosystem.
And the thing is, with Android now, Android looks really cool, and they've got the same kind of handoff thing that Apple have brought out. And they did it before, but I mean, it's just another option, isn't it? I mean, if you've got those Android devices with PC, that's going to work just as well as if you've got an iPhone and a Mac.
And something we always say is competition is good for consumers.
And the one thing I will say is, I've looked at a lot of different handsets. I still think that the iPhone is by far and away the nicest looking device out there, and the sturdiest looking
build quality
thing.
The Plus is apparently massive. I haven't actually seen a Plus in the
Plus. I picked one up. I went to the Apple shop yesterday. I went to the Apple shop after work yesterday, and I picked one up. Yeah. And it did feel a little bit too big.
Yeah. But then again, the Galaxy Note, like Bex has got, I think, a note, and every time I see, because she's quite small,
She's tiny, yeah.
she's got this massive thing. It's like, hello.
One of my friends lost his, and he had like a tablet of some sort, and he was like, you can't see the side of his face when he uses it.
But then, like, at the same time,
He was like, I'll bring you back. I've just got to go somewhere private. And
at the same time, she uses that as what would be like the her iPad Mini or something like that. So,
well, Krupa did say that he'll probably end up using his iPhone more for watching stuff. But I still, I've got the balance. I think, the iPhone 6 with the Mini is a good balance.
Yeah, I'd agree.
The Air is, again, same thing, just a touch too big for me.
Yeah. I found that as soon as I got the iPad Mini, I was like, this is the right size for an iPad.
Like this morning, I was on the train, I was watching Hannibal on the way in, and it fits perfectly if I rest it on my bag.
did you end up starting Hannibal?
I did.
Is it too gruesome?
Well, we'll talk about it later on.
Yeah, no, we should chat about this.
Did you get your Mini yet? You were going to get an iPad Mini.
No, because I was told to wait in case they announced another one.
They will.
Yeah, so I'm waiting to see if they announce one for Christmas.
Okay. Well, the rumour is that they're not going to announce one with the new iPad, which is in October.
Brother
so
truckers. Well, I'm going to wait and
maybe
see.
January.
I'll clearly get one for Christmas and I'll announce one in January. That's the way these things go for me.
It's always the way. So that's the first piece of feedback.
Daryl has written in. He said, you mentioned the possible return of Matt Damon in the Bourne series. What about the return of Tom Cruise in the next Jack Reacher film? I enjoyed the first, but how long can Cruise pull these kind of roles off?
Well, that's relevant for you.
He's about 86 now, isn't he? Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Scientology is very good for that.
He's in his 50s.
Yeah, he is,
and so you've just seen The Edge of Tomorrow, which
I thought you were about to say you're in your 50s
and
as
you're
well.
in your 50s
At which
as
point
well.
you would have got a kick in the nuts.
So, well, everyone thinks I'm 35, so you can chill out.
Not everyone, just the people who matter.
Yeah.
Most people in the world think you're older than me, and I'm happy with that.
Good. So, Alex has seen The Edge of Tomorrow. Have you seen The Edge of Tomorrow?
I have seen The Edge of Tomorrow.
What are your thoughts on The Edge of Tomorrow? Because that is his most recent action-y thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I went in with it thinking this is going to be awful, and I came out really enjoying it.
I
thought
just
it was
want to
quite
see
good.
it, but I like Emily Blunt. So.
Yeah. It's a cool concept. I like his kind of frustration throughout the whole film.
Yeah,
it works.
and some of the action's really, really good in it.
Yeah.
I would say it's a solid 7 or 8 out of 10.
So Oblivion, I think, is probably the last one that I saw with him in.
Yeah.
Like that.
I really liked Oblivion.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, I like
thought
sci-fi a lot.
Aesthetically, it was a beautiful looking film.
It did look good.
The plot didn't make sense, but I thought it was very good.
Yeah, I didn't really
watch.
give a shit about that. I was quite happily looking at that little bubble helicopter thing.
And the
It's
see-through
amazing.
pool. I did like the see-through. Well, the see-through pool scared the shit out of me. I would never swim in that, but yeah. No.
The story wasn't amazing, but I think I went into that film thinking this is going to be terrible, and it was actually quite palatable.
Well, I'm quite interested. So obviously he's on about people aging and stuff. Harrison Ford, is in Star Wars Episode 7.
Yeah.
That, I think, may be a bridge too far.
It is funny when you
But
see
let's
the
see.
cast pictures, like if you just search for Episode 7 cast and Google brings in the latest kind of updated pictures, and you got Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and it's like, oh my God.
Time has been...
Yeah.
And that's the issue with X-Men as well, isn't it? I guess kind of like with Hugh
Well,
Jackman aging and something you actually discussed on this week's superhero show.
Yeah.
And they're meant to
He's still a young buck, though, Jackman.
Yeah, but if he's not meant to age,
No.
he's clearly aging.
They've
Yeah,
done
of
quite a
course,
good job
yeah.
at holding it off.
But I mean, do you think
He's
Tom
played
Cruise?
that role a lot, Jackman has.
He needs something new.
Yeah,
I'm kind of
But-
also...
Well, he's-
Wolverine is not my most exciting
he's hooked now,
X-Men.
isn't he?
As in Captain?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. New Peter Pan film. That's why he shaved his head.
There you go.
Again, this is words that I have not heard
Okay.
before.
So, what was the original question? I've forgotten
Yeah,
after all that.
How
chat.
much longer do we think Cruise can keep being action?
I think
Well,
that
no.
boy-
Also, what about the return of Tom Cruise in the next Jack Reacher film? So have you seen Jack Reacher?
I didn't see the
I
original
don't think
Jack
it did
Reacher.
that well,
no.
did it?
It didn't do very well. It wasn't a very good film, to be honest.
No.
It was just quite
No.
kind of a standard
Because I remember
film.
quite a lot of people being disappointed. Well,
And because Tom Cruise is in those roles all the time, you can't really distinguish between
No.
all the
that's
films.
kind of my
But I
thing.
s-
Tom Cruise is always Tom Cruise.
Yeah, but at the
I
same
never
time,
think he's this character now. It's Tom Cruise again.
at the same time, I think he delivers. He's consistent.
he's very watchable.
He never gives a groundbreaking performance, but he always gives a performance that you'll quite happily sit there and enjoy.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same across all of his
I
kind of
guess he can do it
films.
as long as his body holds out. Then
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's clearly been dyeing his hair for years.
And also, what about him switching the role of Ethan Hawke over to somebody else in Mission Impossible?
I think Mission Impossible absolutely needs a reboot. I don't remember much about the last one apart from climbing up that big building in Dubai.
That was a good scene.
It was a good scene, but overall the film was completely forgettable. Mission Impossible 2 was fantastic. That was a long time ago now.
Which is the one where there's a lot of the face stuff going on?
That was...
2,
well, that's all of them, isn't it?
The face stuff.
Where he's like
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, you pull off the masks.
Oh.
That's pretty much every Mission Impossible. It was in the first one. Pretty sure it was in the second one.
I basically hadn't seen any of them, and me and my friends from uni used to do this night called Fellowship of the Trilogy, which we started watching the Lord of the Rings films. And yeah, we watched all of them in one night, so they're just one long...
I thought you were talking about Magnolia.
So one of the best...
I don't get it.
One of the best trilogies. Bourne trilogy, going back to that. That is a good trilogy.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm glad that he's back.
yeah.
Cool, we on to the next one?
Yes.
So, James Hunter says, after recently acquiring Amazon Prime for a year, I've been wondering which shows are available on there or anywhere would be good to watch. The only show I've done so far is Hustle, which I would recommend to anyone as I managed to sit through all 8 series in about a month.
Love Hustle.
Type of show is anything to do with superheroes like Arrow or clever cop shows like Perception, Elementary or Unforgettable. And then he also says, no idea this has been mentioned before, but after recently playing Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD in preparation for his YouTube channel, I noticed a real Prince Komali, Komali, which I haven't looked up yet.
Right.
But exciting.
Cool.
There we go. So thanks, Nintendo. I will hope my check is well.
I don't have Amazon Prime actually. I'm just on Netflix, but
Yeah.
There's Netflix and Sky on Demand.
Yeah. There's a sci-fi show with Halle Berry which looked interesting. I haven't seen any of it yet. I think that's on Amazon Prime. And that's where she's astronaut up in space and she becomes pregnant and it's kind of like how and why or whatever.
Yeah.
So some kind of sci-fi thing. I can't remember what it's called, but that looks good.
So, I mean, it's really about binge watching, right? I mean, there's quite a lot of shows that I used to catch glimpses of when I was a kid, and then like when I was at university, I binge watched them all. So Farscape, I'm not sure if that's on Amazon Prime, but Farscape I would really recommend. Very much like that. House as well. I binge watched House.
House. I don't think I've seen
A lot of people, like a
much
few
of
of my
that.
friends, really rate House.
Yeah, the great thing about House is that the episodes work as standalone, but the reward for watching them kind of in sequence is so great. Gone on about Buffy a million and one times, but Buffy is on Netflix, so Buffy. Arrested Development's very good as well.
Right, that's not on Prime though.
No, but that is on
Netflix.
Netflix. House of Cards, which is also Netflix.
Yeah, but he's not asking about Netflix,
That's
but
not
thanks.
Prime.
Well, he said or anywhere, so I kind of assumed he also meant Netflix maybe as well. And Breaking Bad's very good. Well, I haven't seen Breaking Bad, but
But
very good.
I completely agree with him on...
Well, I have seen Breaking Bad,
you've
so
not
I
seen
can...
Breaking Bad?
So
No,
I can
I was
say
going to
it's
watch
very
it. It
good.
was going to be my thing. Like I was going to do it, and then when I was collating feedback, someone wrote in and was like, "What do you think about the end of Breaking Bad when this happens?" And so I know how it ends. So I was like,
Really?
"Well, bugger that."
No, it
for a
doesn't
Game of
matter.
Soldiers.
Doesn't matter.
You should absolutely go and watch it.
Definitely.
So, after last week's podcast, Krupa was talking about Hannibal. So I started watching that, and I'm about 3.5, 4 episodes in, and it's really, really good. It's the way it's kind of so it's quite gruesome, but you don't see that much. It's just, I would say again, it more kind of screws with your mind than kind of goes all out there.
Kind of more psychological.
Yeah, and obviously you're still kind of figuring out what's the relationship between Hannibal Lecter and the FBI agent, because it's all about those two right now, and I'm not going to say anything more for people wanting to go and see it, but you know, for me it's more about the kind of tone of the piece, and Krupa said it was like, you know, cinematically beautiful, and it is, but also the music and the tone that sets is incredible, because there's always some kind of like sound that's kind of putting you on edge when Lecter's on screen or doing this, that and the other, and it's just like, oh my god. It's kind of a weird thing to watch first thing in the morning on the train, but it's really, really good.
I watched, I think, up to about maybe 7 or 8 episodes of that, and I stopped because I'd caught up with it, and then I just kind of forgot about it.
Right.
So I need to go back and watch it. But the main reason I want to go back is because Krupa keeps going on about the end of season 2.
He really does. Yeah.
So passionate about it that I have to go and watch it.
So has it just finished season 2? Is that where it's up to?
I think that's where it's up to. Yes.
Yeah.
So, because it's slightly different, but Dexter is one that I always hear people rave about until, I don't know, a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the second half of the last season was awful, and the ending's very disappointing.
And I don't know, I think that's on Netflix, but I don't know.
Yeah, Dexter's on Netflix.
Yeah,
I don't know if all of it is.
Another thing that Krupa says is Lost, which obviously is its 10th anniversary this year.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
But I didn't get past season 1 of that.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure I can stomach 7 seasons.
It's too many.
Yeah.
I'm very impatient in terms of waiting for the big payoff, and that seems to be Lost's
I started
thing.
Well, I started rewatching. Well, the new season of 24, and I got like 2 or 3 episodes into that, and it just wasn't clicking for me. So
I never watched that.
Yeah, so thank you very much, James.
Kyle Barrett writes in saying, I consider myself a big film fan, but I've only ever seen films at my local cinema, which is a relatively small screen. But for my birthday, I'm planning on travelling to London to see Interstellar at the BFI IMAX.
Oh, yes.
Is it worth it? Yes.
Of course it will be.
I was going to say, if there's one film you want to see in IMAX, it's got to be Interstellar.
Yeah.
Again, we've seen only the same as what everybody else has seen in terms of trailers, but Chris Nolan, big IMAX fan, always makes, like, the Dark Knight in IMAX was
astonishing. Right?
Sorry, Dark Knight Rises. I didn't see Dark Knight. Right,
Dark Knight was a few scenes shot in IMAX, wasn't
like
it?
the one where she's falling off the roof, isn't it? Like
the chase through the city as well.
Yeah, but the Rises stuff where he comes out of retirement and it's, you know, the bat pod is screaming along and chased by all those cop cars. That was just like proper goosebumps.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it in IMAX.
Did you not?
No.
Incredible. The other question, he says, should I get more expensive seats? Now, I don't know about IMAX because I don't know how it kind of works in terms of pricing. The one thing, if you're going to the IMAX in Waterloo, it's one of the few cinemas where I think sit right near the back in the middle.
Yeah.
Because if you're down the front, you literally have to look at all different corners of the screen to try and take it all in.
So I had a BFI membership, and so I used to go to the IMAX a lot.
Yeah.
The one in Waterloo it's good, but what you want to do is just make sure, as you say, close to the back, but don't worry too much. It's really, really steeply raked.
It's so really steep.
Yeah, like in the sense that you'll get vertigo looking forward.
Yeah.
So don't worry about people's head in front of you. But as you say, close to the back and the middle as you can, just because once you get into angles, the 3D starts getting a bit weird.
Yeah.
But,
the new one in Leicester Square, I noticed that the seats are very, very close together. And I'm quite tall, so I struggle kind of like on planes and on trains.
Yeah.
And
automobiles.
I found that really tough. Luckily, there was no one sitting in front of me because my knees were literally in between the 2 seats in front of me.
Right.
So if you are going to go to IMAX, if you're going to come to London, definitely go to the Waterloo one.
So the last 2 films that I went to the cinema, which weren't at the IMAX, they were just at my local cinema, which is an Odeon.
Mm-hmm.
I paid for the upgrade, and I would absolutely recommend that. It was
Really?
£1.50 more or something.
Yeah.
But it just gave me that bit of extra room.
Yeah.
Little things like the seat doesn't pop up. So I
Right.
quite like that. It's just, it's all there. Arm room, leg room, same as you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not, massively tall, but I'm tall enough to want to be able to stretch my legs out.
I'm tiny and I like the extra leg room. It makes me feel like a king.
So
I suppose it's just a prince.
I saw, exactly.
Yeah,
I saw Guardians of the Galaxy there, and then I saw Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Well worth the money.
Yeah. You saw Mr. Peabody and Sherman in IMAX?
Not at IMAX.
I was going to say.
It was because it was the summer holidays. I went there with my daughter.
Okay.
It was only £3.
Really?
It was only £3 a ticket.
For you as well?
Yeah. And so I upgraded to premium seats, and they didn't charge me for it. So it's premium seats, £3. Living the dream.
What a bargain. Cool. Got another email from Daryl Sharp. He says, just noticed that some of the exclusive GTA content is linked to a current gen account of GTA. Now, I did have the game on PS3, but I have gone over to Xbox One. Do you think my Rockstar social account will unlock the content rather than my Xbox Live account or old PSN account?
I have looked this up extensively.
What
and
is the answer?
I can confirm that, it will. And so if you want to go from PS3 to Xbox One, PS4 or PC, it'll all transfer. So and
Cool.
that works
So it's
everywhere.
a social.
Yeah, so
club
whether you have
account.
the PS3 or the Xbox 360 version,
Right.
you can transfer it to PS4, Xbox One or
You
PC.
stop waving your arms around so much. You're hitting the
It's
microphone.
really
you're
going a
hitting
bit
Rich's
mental.
notes.
But yeah, you can transfer it all ways, but just make sure that it's only your GTA Online stuff. Your single player stuff will not carry over.
Okay.
Cool.
Is on to that one. And the last bit of feedback I think that we have is from Michael Bristow. So he says, when you think back about being really excited for a game to come out, which game comes to mind? So he's given 2 examples to give you guys time to think. For me, it was probably Metal Gear Solid 2. He said he was ultimately disappointed. He didn't like the lack of freedom and the constant cutscenes. And then Devil May Cry. He pre-ordered it for early December, then decided to keep it wrapped up as a Christmas present to himself in case Santa was just going to get him socks and joke books. And it was a very good game.
So, pretty much all the Metal Gears, to be honest, from Metal Gear 2 onwards, because the Metal Gear 2 trailer, I can't remember what E3 it was, but it was. I still think it's one of the best trailers ever made. A combination of the music by Harry Gregson Williams and the way it was directed was just incredible. I'd never seen anything like it before. So that, and then obviously Snake Eater and Metal Gear 4, you know, whether you like the games or not, the anticipation around it was huge. But I think GTA 5 is probably, you know, one of my most excited. I was literally, I could not wait
I remember that.
to get a copy of the game
Yeah.
and sit down and start playing it and not race through it,
Yeah.
which often we have to do because it's our jobs, but to just sit back and enjoy it. So, yeah, in recent times, GTA 5, but I tell you what, Phantom Pain. Oh my God, I cannot wait for Phantom Pain. Even the latest stuff from TGS, and there was the extended trailer with Quiet, but then the other thing where you get a little puppy dog,
Yeah,
you rescue in the jungle, and then it becomes your doggy and it's got an eye patch. Oh my God.
For Alex to get this is a serious
Amazing.
stuff.
Amazing.
I don't know. Final Fantasy games I've always been keen about. Final Fantasy 15 I was, but God knows when that's happening. So
Also, it makes no sense.
I was really excited. No, I was really excited for, because I like the franchise.
I know you do. I know.
Destiny I was really excited for, but
Yeah.
I think probably the game that really, really sticks out because it was so heartbreaking is when I was about 10. I really liked Black and White, which was, you know,
Right.
Peter Molyneux game.
Yeah,
Yonks ago on PC. And the expansion pack, Creature Isle, was coming out, and I'd had it pre-ordered, and it was meant to come out in September. This was in the days of, you know, the old days of the internet and stuff, so there wasn't that much information out there. So it was meant to come out in September. I was going to get it for my birthday. We went down to the store, to the electronics boutique.
I remember EB.
Yeah, in our nearby town that was about half an hour away. That was our closest EB. Went there, got there. I was like, "Yeah, have you got my pre-order copy?" And they were like, "Oh, sorry, yeah, it's been delayed till March." And so it was a 6-month delay. And when you're a 10-year-old and you're getting it for your birthday, and I was just absolutely heartbroken.
Was it worth the wait?
In the end, yeah. Like I thought it was fantastic, and it remains like a really like a special game for me. But yeah, that was a game that I was just like, those 6 months were possibly the slowest 6 months of my life.
Thing is, that takes me back because when I first started getting into games, obviously it was quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like the adverts that you'd get on the back of magazines would be, I can't remember what they called. They were called Special. There was one particular mail order company, Special Reserve, I think.
Right.
And the advert would basically be a list of games on the back, and it would just be like, oh my God, what am I going to get?
Yeah.
What am I going to get? But there would be nothing in there. You know, this game might not be out for 2 years, and it's like order here, and I'd send off my check for £10 or whatever it would be, because it was all checks in those days.
What is check?
What is check?
But it's Google it, you twat. But those days of because I don't even remember it being games coming out on a Friday or this, that, and the other. It was completely different. And obviously, you know, the divide between when games came out in Japan and the US and the UK was completely different as well. So it was just, you know, you get them when you get them. But like looking all the way back then, so one Christmas I got Operation Wolf, which was an arcade game, and then Falcon, which was a flight sim. Oh man, I pissed my pants over those games. Amazing. What did you say?
Plays a bird.
Yes, you play as a bird. It's like Kez. Kez, the simulator.
Like Kez the game.
Nice. For me, it was probably Tony Hawk's Underground, I have to say. One of my favourite games ever. Again,
Thug.
Yeah, exactly. It was around the time of my birthday, so, you know, I knew I was going to get it for my birthday.
Yeah.
And it was the first time you could play it online. My friend bought it when we finally sat down and played it. It was just amazing. Joined clans, glitching clans. It was one of the top... Yes, that's right. I know, stunned silence in the room.
You're one of the top glitching clans?
Yeah, one of the top glitches in the glitching clan, which was also one of the top.
What's that?
We just used to go around levels and
try to screw up the game.
Yeah, well, not screw up the game, just get behind closed doors kind of thing.
Right, okay.
It's fun. Can I just say the fact that you called it Thug as well reminded me of the time when I kept reading about Twine in magazines. I was like, what's Twine? What the hell is this game Twine?
Yeah.
So the world is not enough.
I know that.
I was like, oh yeah, no, that's the crap one.
I thought that was supposed to be a good one.
I thought it was crap. I don't
know.
Well, I'm pretty sure Madonna sings the theme song, so...
Oh, hang on.
I know that's Die Another Day.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
I
What's
know
the
anymore.
Square RPG that's got a name that's similar to that? The World Ends With You.
Yeah, that's meant to be good.
Yeah, I think I'm getting confused. The World Ends With You is good. Yeah.
I don't think Twine's very good.
Anyway, so let's talk about the games out this week. First up, Luke, tell us all about FIFA 15.
It involves people kicking a ball?
Sport ball.
Sport ball. Added time multi-ball.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that all you got?
I've been writing something about Ultimate Team, is that a thing?
Look, let me talk about it instead, because otherwise it's painful. So Krupa and I have been playing the game. For once, Krupa didn't actually write the review this year. We gave it to one of our freelancers, Chris
Because he
Schilling.
threatened to jump off the roof if we made it.
It is hard reviewing a FIFA game year in, year out for eternity. So
we're giving him
it's a
Pez
good
instead.
game,
Yep.
but it's got to a point where so the new things are obviously goalkeepers are a lot more kind of dynamic. The presentation is, as you would expect, immaculate. It looks incredible, and it's still a lot of fun. But if you got the last one, it's a bit like, really. So it swings in favour of attacking rather than defending. So it depends, whether that's your thing. I don't know. I must admit, I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I'm a very casual FIFA player.
More so than 14, or?
Yes, but that's mainly because I was playing against Krupa, who is better than me. So I go into every single game not really knowing what I'm doing. He obviously brings. He bought his. He was trying to play it like FIFA 14,
Right.
and so it took him a while to adapt.
Okay.
And so by the time we got to the 6th game, he started to get good, and I was like, I'm bored of this now.
Yeah.
Move on to the next thing. So, but yeah, I like it. Also out this week is The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Now, we don't have a review of that up on the site, but Marty did see it at Gamescom and said it looked exceptional. And I know we've spoken a lot about Hannibal, but it really reminded me of that, because the FBI agent in Hannibal has this ability where he kind of has a connection with the killer or the victim and kind of goes back through the steps of what happened at the murder scene. And from what I've seen of Ethan Carter, that's kind of what happens there.
Yeah.
And it just looked gorgeous as well. So
It looks absolutely. So it's a kind of an open world detective game.
Yeah.
And it's like beautiful, leafy lakes, stunning. So Ethan Carter's gone missing, and you're trying to find him.
Yes.
And you're kind of a detective who has a relationship with the paranormal. Like you kind of understand it.
But it looks beautiful, but at the same time, it's very kind of like macabre in its kind of tone and setting, and the dialogue and the way it kind of rolls out. And
I like the
as I
writing
say,
about the clues. Like it's very kind of it's like it's drawn in chalk or something. It's very.
It seems like it's going to make you feel very clever as well when you do kind of work it out. And
because like normally what happens in it felt a little bit like some of the old point and clicks or like Myst or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you inspect something and it came up with, rather than like giving you the answer, it gave you more questions to kind of consider about, and I kind of like that. So I'm very intrigued.
We watched the game designer commentary, didn't we?
Yeah.
Before we came on here, and the voiceover of the main guy in the game really sounds like Joel from Last of Us. I don't know if it's the same guy.
Troy Baker.
I'd be interested to know.
Does everything,
He's
doesn't
in
he?
every game ever,
Yeah.
so he
Might be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like he is contractually, he has to have right of refusal on every game that's ever made.
That's
Wow.
not true. That is not true. So that's it for games. In terms of movies, kind of the one biggie this week is The Equalizer. And it is based on the TV show from the 1980s featuring Edward Woodward. Do you remember that?
Nope.
Oh, you idiots.
Born in 1989.
Pick the wrong people for this
No,
podcast.
exactly.
Guess we had to be there.
So Denzel Washington plays, I think his name is Robert McCall, like a kind of ex-commando guy. And he helps out people in need. Therefore, he is the equalizer.
Right. What does he equalise?
Well, so if you've got... I'm trying to... this is not the film, by the way. So Chloe Moretz is the victim in need of help in the film. And basically, I'm completely paraphrasing this. She's up against some bad guys. He comes in, he equalises the odds.
Right.
That's the theme tune from the TV show.
I want to watch this show. This sounds amazing.
It's honestly the original is.
Was it good?
It was really good. Not just because it had a guy called Edward Woodward, which is an amazing
I don't know
name.
where I've heard that from.
There's a joke involving Edward Woodward.
Yeah, it's like, what do you call Edward Woodward with no D's? Ewa-wee-wa.
Yeah, that's
Exactly,
yeah.
yes.
That suddenly makes so much more sense now because you made that joke.
Ewa-wee-wa.
It's quite nice to say.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Ewa,
so
wee,
glad
wa.
that I knew the origins of that after years of hearing it.
It's not my joke, by the way. I didn't pen that joke.
Oh.
I'm not doing a Chris Tillian claiming that
You brought back
I
Bants.
birthed a piece of popular culture. I just
back Bants.
kind of like the sound of Ewa-wee-wa. Simple as that. So.
Cool.
So I would watch Equalizer and I'd play both those games, quite frankly.
Cool.
Yeah, both
Yeah.
It's a
sound
good
very
week. Yeah. That's it, I think, for this week's podcast.
So.
Again, once again, a shout out to Babs. hope that's your name.
Hopefully.
Otherwise, it's Babs from my local chip shop. She's lovely.
But Bab sounds like Barbara, so
I know that, but as I say, I was
Could be his nickname.
I was kind of taken aback. So apologies if I didn't kind of amazing. Apologies if I didn't listen correctly. I'm also really bad at getting people's names right. I'm really bad. I focus so much on making a good first impression that I don't actually listen, and that is a fact. So thank you to everyone that listens. If you bump into me in the street, tweet me with your name and I'll get it right next time. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me, fellas, and
Thank you.
we will be back this time next week. Until then, bye-bye.
bye.